told me from the start, and this isn't a year ago or 2 or 3. This is going back 4 years ago when I first guessed this. I don't see the intangibles. I don't see the killer will. I don't see the takeover gene in Giannis. He's going to stat you to death. He's going to PER you, player efficiency rating you to death. He is the PER prince. He won back-to-back MVPs, and I got no issue with either of his MVPs because he put up the numbers that qualified him to be the regular season MVP.
Okay.
He has had nothing but flameouts and meltdowns in the postseason, running literally into brick walls and not being able to shoot it well enough from mid-range or certainly from distance or from the free throw line to put his team over the top. So this is classic, what you call about Dak Prescott, empty calories. This is classic. You just stat it to death. Dak Prescott in the first 5 games last year was on a historic pace to throw for 400-plus yards a game. And you know what the story, what was the bottom line? They were horrible, right? Well, I'm not saying Milwaukee's horrible, but were they ever in the game to you last night, except for they made a nice burst in the first quarter? They came out with some energy like, watch this, we're ready. They just out-hustled and out-gutted the Suns in the first quarter. And yet when the smoke cleared, Phoenix was only down 3. And then here came Phoenix, and they go on a 44-24 run. This is why they're just so much better.
That broke the game open.
It just broke but you watch it happen. It unfurls before your very eyes, and you say, boy, Giannis is having a great game, a great game, a great game. Well, wait a second. It's 44-24, and all of a sudden at halftime, they're down 11. And in the second half, they would chip away and make a little run, but they never could get it over the top where they got it back to 2 or tied or up 2 because there's something missing in this team. You don't get the feeling that they're going to feed off Giannis. Giannis can feed himself. You know, he can feed like crazy. And I got to say, your man Ayton last night did not show up for that game.
No.
He came with low energy and low intensity, and it showed all night long. And he wound up with, what, like 10 points and 11 rebounds? Okay, it's not what we saw in Game 1 from him. And on defense, he was a shell of his Game 1 self against Giannis, and I don't know why. It's that classic big man 7-footer, and he's still young, and he has to really lock in before the game. Like, they have to get him fired up.
Well, Skip, he's going to have to understand, okay, you had a great 1 game.
Yeah, that's it. I agree.
But you had 1 game.
You had 1 game.
It's not that you don't think Giannis is going to come back? Because he heard, Ayton did a great job on Giannis. He did a great job on Giannis. Giannis is like, no, he didn't. I just didn't take enough shots. And we knew Giannis was going to be ultra-aggressive. But, Skip, I asked you yesterday, I say, Skip, what happens if, I said, what will you say if Giannis gives you 40, 15, and 5? You're going to say, well, he played great, and I'm going to look at the other guys. But still, he gave you 40, 12, and 4.
He played great, and I'm going to look at the final score. That's all I care about. But they lost by double digits. They lost by double digits. It's it. Period. End of story.
But you were just hyping the guys, Middleton. You were just hyping Holiday. What did they give you?
I just told you what they didn't give you because they watch. They don't follow. They don't feed off. They don't thrive on. They just watch. It's the weirdest dynamic. And they don't seem to be inspired. And there was a moment in the second quarter when it looked like Phoenix was about to take it over, and Ayton finally got free for a lob dunk. And it's like 7 minutes left in the second quarter. And if we could see this, Giannis goes to the bench, and he starts screaming at the sideline huddle and yelling, you know, we got to take this more seriously, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's just a bunch of cliches. And it just looks like to me that they're tuning him out the way they do Budenholzer, because I don't think they listen to Bud, and I don't think they listen to Giannis. He doesn't have that alpha quality leadership that people fear. There's no fear factor. Obviously, if I go all the way to the top, if Jordan ever did that, he would never grandstand like that. He would just lean over to somebody and say, get your you-know-what in gear. And it would hit home because they were afraid of him. Do you think anybody's afraid of Giannis, who mean mugs after a dunk, runs up the court? You know, they don't have respect bordering on fear for his leadership intangibles. He's not the leader of this team, and I'm not sure anybody is, and that's the problem. They have talent, obviously, or they wouldn't be able to do what they keep doing in the Eastern Conference. But when they keep running into a Toronto 2 years ago or a Miami last year, look what happens. They all shrink, and they just fade into the background, and it's all on Giannis. And again, Arguably, he was the best player on the floor.
He was.
And what did that get you?
Nothing.
What did it get you in game one when he was still pretty good in game one? What did it get you? You lost by 13.
Giannis is one of the 4 players that's had a 40-10 game and lost in the finals. So what that tells you is that I don't care how great you are as an individual, you're not beating 5. LeBron has 3 such games. We saw what Kevin Durant did. Even the great Kevin Durant, 1-on-5 is not going to win you a game. So until Holiday, until Middleton, that you keep informing me they're all-stars. Middleton has been an all-star the last 2 years. Holiday has been an all-star, although it's been a while ago. Skip, until they give him something, they're not going to win.
Did they look like all-stars against Atlanta in 5 and 6?
Skip,
yes.
That's Atlanta.
Yes.
So what about now? You don't get to lift. Well, I played really good 3 years ago, so when I'm good, no, you don't get to be a made man on what you did weeks ago. What are you doing right now? Look at Book. Look at CP3. CP3 didn't look like this against the Lakers, but it doesn't matter. Look at what he did against the Clippers in the closeout game. Look at what he's done these past 2 games. That's what you got to base it on, Skip. You can't keep living in the past. Giannis is putting up these numbers game after game after game, and he's not getting help.
So think about this. Once again, the Bucks out-rebounded Phoenix at Phoenix for both games. It was closer last night. It was 46-43, but they won the backboards.
At one point in time, Skip, they were up by 10.
They were.
But you remember that last sequence in the 4th quarter? When they needed to get them offensive
I'm
rebounds?
I'm going to get to that in just a second. Bench points. Last night, Milwaukee's bench outscored Phoenix's bench 23-16. And if we go back to game 1, again, the Suns got way outshot at the three-point line in game 1, and it didn't matter. And none of these stats I just gave you mattered last night because they lost by 13 in game 1 and 10 last night. Why is that? Because the team won't go with Giannis. Somehow they don't respond to him. So in the end, when it looked like they could make a little push, who is the opposite of Giannis on the Suns to me in the way he's built with backbone and clutch toughness? It's Devin Booker.
Yeah.
He is serious business to me. So if we could see, every time it looked like Milwaukee might make a little bit of run in the 4th quarter, can we see what Devin Booker, who's not a great three-point shooter, maybe he'll become one, but here's what he did. There's the first one. That's pretty deep, actually. And then here's the second one.
I don't know what Middleton was doing with that skill.
I don't either. And he's a good defender, and they just completely blew the defense.
Leaves a man wide open like that. And Giannis just turns his head and drops his head.
Those are 3 points where you've cut it to 6, you've cut it to 7, you've cut it to 10. And he just says no, and double no, right? And it's 3 straight. That's 941, 749, and 718. Well, it's just boom, 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 and it just shoots the heart out of you. As Mikal Bridges said after the game, he just melted them down by himself because they look like they're melting.
Yes.
They look around at each other like, God,
it's tough, Skip. We fought so hard. We clawed back. We were down 15. We clawed back. All we got to do is get a stop. Or a 6-point game might be a 4-point game. Might be a 3-point game. And he goes boom, boom, boom. And I got nothing. I'm done.
Then there was that later sequence when it looked like the Bucks had sort of creeped back into the game. And it's CP3 shot in the end. But if we could see the whole possession, this is with 4:10 left. It's just they miss a couple of shots and they get a couple of offensive rebounds. First, it's Chris miss. And offensive rebound, you got to hustle for that. And
you got 3 guys. One guy comes up, misses, gets Ayton.
Bridges missed, and Ayton gets the rebound, and Chris is at the shot clock and buries a 3, and that's not his shot.
No.
How many times you see Chris in the corner because he never gets to the corner? It's not their offense for the point guard to get to the corner 3. And it's not his shot, and he made his shot because they have been making the shots they have to make. Giannis, to me, in all he's been in the league 8 years, he doesn't make enough of the shots or the plays to turn the game around because you wait for him. And yet, I look at his numbers in the 4th quarter, he made 5 out of 6 shots. I can't remember them, but he made 5 out of 6 shots. Well, that's great. But what happened? What's the outcome? The outcome is you're in an 0-2 hole, you're going home, and now it's going to be up to Giannis to even be better at home. He's going to have to be better, and you'd hope his role players will somehow be more inspired by him at home.
Skip, Chris Middleton gave you 2 points in the 4th quarter. And you look at what they're shooting for the series. Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday, 9 of 39 from the 3.
Okay,
Skip,
I got it. I'm going to remind everybody, that's the same Chris Middleton who in Game 3 at Atlanta on the road scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. That's the same Chris Middleton who in Game 6 at Atlanta on the road before a hostile crowd, a crazed crowd, he scored 23 in the third quarter to blow the game open, right?
That's the same
That's the guy.
That's the same Chris Middleton that in Game 1 against Atlanta shot 6 of 23. That's the same Chris Middleton against Game 1 against the Nets that shot 6